WarsawJS Meetup number 117. That's 117 meetups in a period of 9 years. I've only been with you for a few of them. However, we are really happy to be here today at BEC Poland at the Warsaw Financial Center, their offices. It's quite comfortable, and we have a fantastic audience here. We also have an audience watching online. So we're streaming. That means that be on your best behavior because people are going to hear your comments, et cetera, et cetera. And welcome to everyone online. And you can also meet us on our website at WarsawJS.com or at our YouTube channel, WarsawJS. What are we about? WarsawJS is a local community of JavaScript professionals and enthusiasts like me. We meet each month to talk about our favorite programming language, which is? That's correct. A little more enthusiasm next time. Come on, stick with me. We focus on sharing experience from different JS fields, from web browsers to servers, dev tools, mobile, smart TVs, microcontrollers, database, video games, and more. We've had 9 years of experience, as I just explained before, and 190 plus events. We have meetups, workshops, masterclass, hackathon once a year, also conferences, and we have a blog, which we create original articles delivered regularly by cooperation from the community, and Radio IT, still coming. Hang in there with me, folks. And of course, you can join us anytime on our Slack channel where we exchange knowledge and dedicated channels to help each other find better solutions and plan everyday activities. That Slack channel is no joke. Get on it if you haven't already. Our mission. Oh boy, okay, I have to read this verbatim every time. It's important. WarsawJS exists to support both professional and novice software developers within the IT community. That's right. We intend to accelerate the education process by sharing our knowledge and experience. Although our community was established in Warsaw, we are now internationally renowned. This is largely thanks to our global network of members and sponsors. Let's give them a hand. Because it is a global network. WarsawJS is for everyone. We are proud to be able to provide a safe, friendly, and welcoming environment for all, regardless of these things here. Okay, you know what all those things are. Regardless of who you are. I don't like to read these things because we all know what that means. We are really, I'm going to say it again, WarsawJS is for everyone. We're proud to be able to provide a safe and friendly and welcoming environment for all, regardless of who you are. By complying with the Berlin Code of Conduct, which states exactly that we all agree in these meetups, and so far we haven't had any exceptions, to treat each other with mutual respect. What I ask people normally to do is to let me know if you agree that we should all treat each other with mutual respect, which means no abusive language, no slander, no insults, and no harassment or aggression. Let me see hands. How many agree? Half agree or all the way? Yeah, with your full chest. Yeah, do it with your chest. That's our policy, and we're open to all levels of IT understanding. Members who are new to the industry will have unlimited access to an extensive amount of practical experience and advice. Have we done that? Yes, we have. Okay, oh, this is me, Barry Salone, your MC for today. Thank you very much. In addition, please give a big hand, keep clapping for our fantastic, amazing team. Piotr and Tara, Sasha Michałowska, Luisa Haas, and Maciek Malczniewski. We love you. We hope you're watching. All right, in addition, we have our volunteers. I have to step back to see their names. I've been told that I don't pronounce the names clearly, so I'm going to try it this way. Give them a hand, too. Let's go. Dwudzbek, Mehdi, Ilian, Agnieszka, Magdalena, Jakub, and Krzyszek Chojnacki. And if you're interested in becoming a volunteer, that might have something to do with helping you to get a discount for the entry to these events. We're certainly always looking for more help. This does look easy and also requires a lot of work. And as always, cooperation you know, we give back. We give, you give back. Cooperation for the community is always welcome. So if you're interested, contact one of the team members and let them know. We would really appreciate it. All right, if anyone today is interested in giving a 5-minute lightning talk, okay, let me go back. Generally, each speaker today will have 23 minutes. That 23-minute talk will be followed by about 5, 6, maybe 7 minutes of questions and answers. And those are our regular talks. In addition, we have the lightning talks, which are 5 minutes, not 6 or 7. If you have a contest? No. If you have a topic, that's the word, to present that you think might be interesting, we certainly invite you to come and get up here and let us know. Give us some of your knowledge and experience. We're always welcome or always open to new information. It's easy. The crowd here is very accepting, very, very easy crowd, as you can see. So we really appreciate that. That's another way you can give back, even if you don't have a full talk prepared. If you do have a full talk that you'd like to present, please scan this QR code and submit. Get your phones out, folks, because I'm sure that some of you will eventually have something you'd like to present. And you can submit it to us, and we will review it and get back to you, and we'll have a conversation. And we hope and invite you to join us at any time to present your talk at one of the upcoming events. Am I speaking too quickly? No. Ha! Okay, I feel like I'm blah, 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 blah. All right, let's give a big hand to our sponsors. Come on. BEC, CallStack, Campus AI, Monday.com, XFang, and KMag. Without the sponsors, the lights go off. You know what I'm thinking? If the lights went off, I wouldn't be too disappointed because the view here is so amazing. I would just stare at the cityscape. We're at the top of the Warsaw Financial Center. In case you're not with us, you don't know what you're missing. It's a fantastic environment to be in. And it's a shame you can't see what we have surrounding us here. The offices here at BEC are very comfortable. They always are very, very accommodating, and we're really happy to be here today. And now I'd like to invite, from BEC Poland, let me see who it is. Let me make sure it's Alex, because it might not be. We have certainly someone from BEC to give you some kind of a welcome address, and I think this is going to be, in fact, Alex Lubich. There he is.
Thank you, Barry. So we are BAC Poland. We are IT house for Danish banks. We have like over 20% of Danes are using our banks, and 30% of Danish companies are using our banks. If you are interested in fintech, then just check us out. We are currently looking for front-end developers, actually for 2 teams. One for platform team and the other for, can you hear me well, or I'm like, awesome, thanks. We are looking also, for, like I said, one person for platform team. If you are interested in micro frontends, in hybrid apps, then check that out. And we're also looking for someone for business features. My name is Alexander Lubich. I am a front-end developer in platform team. So I can answer all the questions probably about this position. And yeah, like you can see, great view, great food. We have lunches. This is very important for me. I don't know if it's important for you, but for me it's very important. What else? We have great atmosphere. Awesome. So please enjoy the evening. WarsawJS is awesome. We are awesome for like 2 WarsawJS, and you are awesome to us, right? Yes. This is how it works? Awesome. Thank you. This is BEC Poland.
Thank you, sir. So we've met here several times, or at many different meetups, and I think it was the last time or the time before where I said his name correctly, because I've been accused of not paying enough attention to the names. It's very compassion, folks. And I said that his name was Alex Lubich, and he said Lubich. And now he says, actually, I was wrong and you were right. Well, how can you pronounce? Anyway, not important. I think I speak English, at least I try. By the way, about speaking English, because for many people in the room, in fact, English is their second or third language. And so when you're a speaker and you're presenting on this stage, or even when you have a question, please remember one, I call this basic rule. separate the words. Literally separate the words. I can do it very quickly, and still each word is separate. If you do that, I think people will understand you a lot more clearly, and here we go. Our first speaker today is from Callstack. And would you please welcome to the stage Mr. Robert Pasiński. The topic is Deep Dive into JS Task Scheduling.
Hello. Hi.
Got that? All right, nice to see you.
Thanks. Yeah, so should I just switch it? Tak.
Oh, that's the next meetup. No, back. No, back.
Back? Go back to slide. Które chcesz zobaczyć?
Czyli moja preska.
A twoja preska, co?
Tak.
Next one is September 11th, by the way, folks. You can see that now on the screen, there's a little preview.
Gdzie jest to?
You now have 21 minutes left, Robert.
Moment, to nie.
Oh, okay, so Piotr won't be saying anything today.
To tutaj jest deep dive, prawda?
We got this. I love technology. I do. I really do. Especially when you get to see the nuts and bolts. It's my favorite part.
Thank you.
Here we go. Jeszcze raz. Robert Pasiński.
Hi. I just want to say that I'm really excited to be here because I first heard about WarsawJS when I was looking for some issue, and I found out that you have a very big and large content in your YouTube channel. So I've actually watched like quite a few presentations, and yeah, I'm really excited to be here because if I got it correctly, you are like the longest living meetup in Poland regarding the JavaScript, so that's quite a feat.
Almost
So,
6,000 members, yes.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so today I want to talk about like deep diving into JavaScript task scheduling, but I realized it's very hard to do in 20 to 23 minutes. Actually, it's impossible. So I've decided to split the knowledge into the information that can be helpful to the beginners in JavaScript, and maybe some smaller feats and information that can be helpful for experts who maybe don't know some parts from the specification. So yeah, what I'll be talking today about is quickly mention about available specifications and where to look for them and what is where, because it's not that obvious. The second part will be, we'll go quickly through the task and promises and how are they processed and how they're different. And then we'll quickly go through the job processing in JavaScript engines. There's a lot of information in these sections already, so I will not go that much into detail as I would want to, but nevertheless, there will be some helpful information, I believe. And then we'll talk about background tasks. So how can we offload the logic and the operations from the to make our application more responsive? Lastly, we'll mention all available APIs that we can use to leverage all the possible interfaces that different runtimes give us. So quickly about myself. I'm senior software engineer at Callstack, and I'm working on, let's say, open source department. I'm contributing to React Native and Hermes, which is the JavaScript interpreter behind React Native. So it's like kind of V8 and browser part. So my current work is actually to bring the web APIs to React Native. So the gap between React Native and web APIs is much closer. And yeah, that's all I can say about me. And I would like to start with a, let's say, simple but I think quite popular quiz regarding how this code would be executed. And I want to ask you, what do you believe is the correct answer? So maybe let's raise your hand if you believe the output of this code would be 1, 2, 3. So that's the answer A. If you believe this is the answer, raise your hand. Don't be shy. Okay, no one believes that it's 1, 2, 3. Who believes that this code would print out 3 to 1? Okay, we have quite some hands. All right. And who would believe that this code would print out 3, 1, 2? Okay, so I think it's like 50-50. And the correct answer is 3 to 1. And we'll talk about why in a moment. But it's not really that there's only one correct answer, because if we're talking about HTML, the correct answer is 3 to 1 because of the constraints and the, let's say, steps that the HTML specification requires. But when we are talking about ECMAScript, so the specification behind JavaScript, there are 2 correct answers, because it can be either 312 or 321. And we'll also talk about why and what happens so that there's 2 possible options. And yeah, so let's quickly go through the specifications. It's not that obvious, believe me. So yeah, that's I think the okay. So there is the main, let's say, phrase, event loop. I think most of us heard it, like reading some material, watching some tutorials, or just heard it while you're working with JavaScript. But in reality, there are many more different terms that are related to task scheduling. Sorry for the broken layout, but it seems that the font is missing, so that causes the distortion. And yeah, you can lose your mind while reading all of them. And specification, because there are many of them, like they are very eager to use all of them instead of naming things easily. So yeah, well, we have event loop on one side, which I guess, all heard of, and we have ECMAScript. And during this presentation, I want to highlight that the event loop does not exist in ECMAScript specification. It's very important to distinguish this because you have specification of ECMAScript, which we will talk about in a second, which provides some constraints on language, like how promises are executed, what are the promises, different instructions and statements. So the goal of ECMAScript is to be the standard. So it's the main one for all languages that implement ECMAScript. And the intention behind it is to be pretty abstract. So they are trying to define the common ground of different languages that implement ECMAScript, but they leave quite a room for other implementers to adjust the behavior, but in an expected manner. Yeah, what I said, that there are many implementations of ECMAScripts. The obvious one is the JavaScript that most of us are working with. But there was, quite some time ago, there was this ActionScript, which was used in Flash Player. It was a variant of ECMAScript. It mostly was working the same as JavaScript if you had some experience working with it, but there were some quirks. Also, there is like QtScript, which is a implementation of ECMAScript, but it's like a variant of it that's used in a Qt framework that's used in C++. It's mostly used like for different UI applications across different platforms, and it's gaining traction in automotive sector. So that's it. And lastly, but there are actually more of them, one of the examples is like Google Apps Script, which is the variant of ECMAScript that you can use to extend Google Docs applications like Docs or Slides. So you can create your own commands using this Google Apps Script, and you can create new features. And on top of that, in a different specifications, we have HTML and DOM. So this specification is mostly targeted towards browsers. So it defines mostly how browser interacts with JavaScript, and how it should run, essentially. Yeah, it builds on top of ECMAScript standard, so it takes the abstract part of ECMAScript and implements it in a compatible manner, which we'll talk about. And yeah, there still are two standards. One is W3C and another one is WWG. There was some diss between them, but lastly I've checked, they come to a conclusion, and whenever you go, you can find the latest version, which is the living standard, because HTML standard is no longer versioned as it was. Yeah, and to illustrate the difference, we see a browser on the left side, which obviously has a big yellow part of JavaScript, and you can see different smaller APIs that the browser provides. And actually, looking at it, I should highlight event loop as well, because event loop is core of all of those APIs, because every other API builds on top of event loop. Another runtime we can distinguish is Node.js, which notably misses the DOM part. But obviously, there is no DOM in Node.js, but they are also taking some parts from browser that were part of the HTML standard and implemented to be more compatible. So we can have like Tamer APIs and others that are not required by ECMAScript, but they were added for convenience and to create a bigger compatibility platform. Also, there is another runtime, which is React Native. Similar to Node.js, it's not really a browser environment, but there's some effort currently ongoing to create a native implementation of the missing APIs. So soon you will be able to have a DOM API in React Native. So it will bring all the, actually not whole DOM, because it's quite a challenge to re-implement the browser, but standard HTML components will be available, such as a side div and such, and obviously CSS to style the components. The same goes with Timer APIs. For quite a long time they were polyfilled, but there is an ongoing effort to bring them to the native implementation. Yeah, that was all about specifications. Let's talk about task queues. On the left side, we can see a pretty simple snippet. We define a single function on top of it, and we invoke it in 3 different manners. So I will skip the part where we go through the interpretation of the first function, but we want to visualize how this code is executed. So first of all, the JavaScript interpreter, after finding the function bar, goes to line 5 and invokes the bar function. And what happens next is, we got the output on the bottom. What happens next is we go into the function of the body. And to represent this in some concepts, we bring in the call stack, which is actually it should grow from bottom to up. But for the sake of what I'm going to present later on, I've decided to make it horizontal. It grows from left to right. But call stack represents what chain of the function execution we are in. So because we were invoked by line 5, we get the bar function on the call stack, and we know that we are called and from where, and all the information related to the function is captured. And we get the foo in the output. Next, we are going to line 6 because we ended the evaluation of bar function, and we are going to line 6, which is promise resolve then bar. And what this does actually is to represent it, we need to introduce another concept, which is the microtask queue. And microtask queue is a kind of specific one. I will talk about it later. But we are not executing this function immediately. We are just scheduling its execution. And later on, lastly, we are calling the set timeout, the same function, but with argument 0. And what it does, it schedules this execution of this function on the macro task queue. So it's 2 different task queues. And the fact that the bar function was scheduled on the macro task queue immediately is the case because we passed 0. If we introduce any kind of timeout, the function would not be immediately on the queue, but would be added after some timeout. Yeah, and we finished the execution of this script. And in the specification, it's called script normal completion. So if you ever go read the ECMAScript specification, they call it completion. It's either success or failure completion. And yeah, this is the script that we got executed by the browser. And in the specification, the tasks are called jobs. And the task queues are called job queue. So you can treat a job like an abstract task, which is like implemented by the browser. What happens next is the browser picks a scheduled task from microtask queue and executes it. But as you can see, I intentionally changed the source code of it because we are not actually running the same function bar. We are in different context. And as you can see, the call stack is empty, and that's important because we were executed and invoked by the scheduler. So the context of it is different, and it's very important to remember. And what happens here, yeah, I just highlight that the function changed, the body of source code changed, and the only instruction here is the console log. So obviously that's invoked, and we get it on the output, as you can see. And the invocation of this task is completed. So there's another success normal completion of the script. And right now, the event loop is doing nothing. It's waiting. This is a single, let's say, tick of event loop. It does some things right now, which we'll discuss later, and it restarts. So when it starts again, it looks at the first task from the macro task queue, and it picks it, the same source code. We invoke the console log, it's printed out, and that's it. And another successful completion. And if we want to represent what we already seen about the event loop, we can show it like this. So the event loop is doing infinitely as long as it exists. We invoke the single macro task from the top, usually the oldest one, and then we execute a micro task, but in a different manner. We are draining the micro tasks, so we are executing them as long as there's any micro task to be done, and we'll show it later on. There is a function in HTML. It's not part of the ECMAScript standard, hence the logo on the right. It actually does the same as promise resolve then. It queues a function that's passed as a parameter at the end of microtask queue. It can be used in workers. It's queued once, and then it's removed from the queue. So if you want it to be executed all the time, you have to reinvoke it recursively, and it cannot be canceled. So if you queued a microtask, you cannot cancel it by global and provided functions. And let's talk about how these jobs or tasks in HTML terminology are processed. So this is a snippet from the ECMAScript specification. It's part of the job processing section. So ECMAScript requires that only one job or task may be actively undergoing evaluation at any point in time. So there is no stopping of the task. It has to be started from the beginning to end, as the second point says. So it moves around to the completion, which is just saying that it should finish. And the abstract closure, that is actually a function of our script, so it's just a piece of code that to be executed, must return a normal completion. So that's why I mentioned the call stack, because it has to be successful. And job queues, this is also the part from the specification. Host environments, so any kind of JavaScript runtime, such as browser, Node.js or React Native, is not required to treat jobs uniformly. And that's what it does. And there's even a part in the example that says that Node.js and browsers treat promise jobs higher than others. So the drain microtask part was not part of ECMA specification. It's part of HTML specification. So it's not guaranteed to be in every runtime that supports ECMAScript. This is the part that HTML provides us, not the ECMAScript. And let's quickly talk about ECMAScript. HTML task queues. HTML defines different kind of task queues. it's actually up to the implementer, like the browser, to split the task queues. But most common ones are DOM manipulation, user interaction, networking, navigation, rendering, and there can be as many task queues as the host wants. They are used mostly for scheduling and prioritization. So, for example, rendering takes the highest priority because you don't want user to see the lags and the distortion by, for example, networking tasks. So they are having the higher priority. And one very, very important distinction is that microtask queue, so the promises, is not this kind of a queue. It's a very different one because it's treated very, very specially. And yeah, so here we have the example of macro task and microtasks. And this example illustrates that first we schedule a macro task, which prints C, and we have a promise that resolves immediately, prints A, and then returns another promise, which immediately resolves and prints B. And because the step of draining microtask is a loop, we can be sure that promise resolve, all promises here, because they are already resolved, are executed first, and after all the microtasks that were queued are executed, the macro task executes. So in this example, the output will be ABC, because if we get all the chain of resolved promises, they will be all first executed, and then anything else will be executed, but they have to be already resolved. If we did some kind of fetch here, it would be broken into macro task because we are waiting for the response from the server. So we are waiting for the fetch, and the response is scheduled later on. And because the draining of micro tasks is a loop, we can explode it. So this is like an example of while zero, do nothing, in microtask example. So we are infinitely queuing microtask, and it can never be drained. So this causes the page to be unresponsive, and it can actually freeze your browser. It's not protected from it. And the most important, why should we care? So imagine this example. We are invoking fetch, and then calling then on it. And obviously, if you were working with promises, you know it won't catch the error because you should use catch. And you should use catch because it's a different call stack and a different context. So if we execute fetch, then, as mentioned, won't get executed, and catch would never be invoked, and the code goes on. So that's important to notice. While it's obvious, the same goes with macro tasks. You can, for example, schedule a macro task with an error, and it won't catch because it will be executed after this script died. So this script can be completed, it can be gone, and then the macro task invokes. And why it's important, consider this imaginary component from imaginary UI framework. So we have some kind of component. We have this only the load user function, and we are fetching the information about user and storing the response in a cache. And does any of you can highlight what's wrong with this code? Can any of you notice what's wrong with this code? It's not breaking part, but it can be surprising one when you go much into the details. Okay, let's spin it up. Yeah, I have 2 minutes, right? 1 minute. Okay, I'll quickly go to the summary. So what's wrong with this code is that one part of the code is executed using microtasks. As you can see, let's just go through the invocation, and you can see that the then is scheduled on the microtask, and it's executed in completely different context. And when we cache is on, we are invoking it synchronously. So as you can see, we invoke user loaded in the same context. So if this ever thrown an exception, in this case, it wouldn't be propagated to the UI component. And in this case, if this function fails, it will blow the rendering part of the application. So the solution is to, let me just quickly skip to it. Yeah, this is the different, also the order of execution is different. So if you have any profiling, reporting, it's also different. So in first case, the render is last. In second part, the render is before last. I'm just finishing. I'm sprinting through the presentation right now. And the corrected code should look like this. So as you can see, we are wrapping the cached value in promise resolve to ensure that both cases of both branches of this function are invoked in the same manner. So both of the branches go to the microtask queue, and whenever branch is invoked, it behaves the same. So the order of functions is the same. As you can see, the same goes with the get user. And I think I just...
Robert Pasiński, everybody. Robert Pasiński.
Okay, I just...
No, Robert, this is a great job. This is a really great job. The thing that happened was, before you came up, I told this audience that after you speak, there will be a question and answer period.
Oh, damn it.
And someone asked a question while you were still making your presentation. So that's what happened. So now is a really good time to ask any question. So, because you would have had more time to speak if you didn't answer that question. Because it was like this.
Damn it.
It happens. It really happens.
Yeah.
I appreciate when people ask questions. Here we go.
Hi, could you tell something about this slide?
Nice one. I think it speaks for itself. I don't want to break the system and, extend my time. So I'll just let you read it in peace. And yeah, and if you have any more questions, I'll just, maybe if you are interested, hit me up on Slack. I can send you the presentation if you're interested. And if you have any question that beyond the time frame, feel free to hit me up. And I'm not sure how much slides are left because I don't have the presenter view. And that's because I also lost track of time. And what's there as well? This.
So anyway, yeah.
God damn it.
That was a great answer. I love the question. Yes, of course, you'll have a chance to speak, hopefully, with Robert when we have a chance to get up and stretch our legs and do some networking. So any further questions, you'll be happy to answer. Is that correct? In terms of the stuff that you didn't get to. Any other questions for Robert? Oh, over there. Uh-oh, you know who this is.
So how long are the specifications for ECMAScript and HTML and all of that? Did you read all of that?
They are very long. If you have a lonely evening and you want to get lost in it, I don't recommend it because it's terrible. But if you like digging into details and like reading some weird stuff, then I honestly recommend it. You have lots of material to read. You won't get bored easily if you are into this stuff.
Do a Google search for 262 spec. It'll be a lot of fun. Okay, my question is, I came into it a little bit late, but I think I saw you had a slide that said that somebody with React Native was trying to implement basically all the DOM APIs and stuff like that? Okay, what would be, so for example, a benefit in using something like that, given that it's enormously complicated and very easy to get wrong to implement all those APIs, when there's something already like socket runtime that can run basically native apps using like just a regular JavaScript engine with all the APIs that have been implemented already for React.
Yes, so the main goal of it is to actually make more code that is developed for web to be supported by React Native. It's very hard to do it right because if you wanted to implement the whole DOM API, you would have to re-implement the browser, essentially. So the goal is to close the gap, implement like some kind of JavaScript, CSS style string processing. So it's not that native yet, but it's kind of polyfold on a higher level, and some of the parts that are core are moved to native for better performance. But if you want 100% compatibility, you need a browser, essentially. So what it does is just to reduce the gap and make it easier to develop the apps. For example, if you want to go into the React Native for the first time, you can use divs, you can use asides, you can use styles, and while it's not native, you can feel like it's working, and that's the general idea.
Thank you. Anybody in the back there have any questions? Can you hear us back there? Oh, you have a question back there? Ludwig, can you see him in the back? Back, all the way back. He's like in the really back. In the very back. The farthest back. Hands up if you have a question. Oh. Okay. Anyone in the front here have a question? There we go.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. I would like to ask a follow-up question to this DOM thing. Will the shadow DOM spec and all the things about it be part of React Native, or is it out of scope?
From what I know, I only partly work with it. I actually work on bringing the scheduling work to the React Native. But for what I know is that the shadow DOM is actually not being worked on. The goal is to bring the simple code to the React Native and then progressively add more compatibility. So the shadow DOM is, I think, very deep into the specification and very late. So there are more important parts that needs to be moved to the React Native so that most of the code is working. Because if you had a shadow DOM on React Native, you could essentially run React Web on React Native because React runs on shadow DOM. And I think no. For now, maybe it could be bridged between the native views. I don't know, but I think it will be quite some time before we see shadow DOM for React Native. Thanks for the question.
Thank you very much. We have maybe time for one more question. Anybody in the back? Can you folks hear us back there? Let me see your hands if you can hear us. Okay. Any questions from the back? We can get to you. All right. Any other questions for Robert? Before Robert leaves the stage, I understand you want to invite someone to the
Yes,
stage.
there's one more thing. Oh no, there is this thing, sorry.
There's no more thing?
There is this thing. Sorry.
Is this real? Am I dreaming?
Yeah, I stopped halfway through because I don't see the timer and I got lost in track of time, so that's why I stopped halfway. Yeah, I think it's soon to be end, I believe. Yeah, this is the summary, the favorite animation, and okay, so that's a thank you. And I want to invite Łukasz for stage for a moment.
Łukasz who?
Hudziński.
Hudziński! Łukasz Hudziński! One of my favorite guys from our call staff. Hey, Łukasz.
I'll be fast. So a lot of exciting questions about React Native and web compatibility and all of that. If you want to know more, we have a conference in 3 weeks in Wrocław. It's called React Universe Conf. This is actually the 8th time that we are doing the conference. Previously, it was known as React Native EU. So we broaden our scope to include more React and web-related topics to the conference. Yeah, so Robert will be there. I will be there, Michał will be there, and yeah. And all of those people will be there. You definitely know Kent, you definitely know Evan Bacon and Dan Abramov and Delba. If you want to join us, we have a promo code for you, 15%. Conference is in 3 weeks in Wrocław, 5th and 6th of September, so feel invited. Thank you.
Excellent. We thank you very much. So that's React Native Universe. I was lucky to be with them, I think, last year for React Native EU. It was an amazing experience, I must tell you. Make sure you get your promo codes. Has everyone gotten a shot? Am I going to get out of the way a little bit? Maybe that'll help. All right. So far, so good. I'm just because I don't know where everyone is. Is anyone here for the first time? Any first timers? Let's give a big hand. Welcome to people for the first time. Yes. Welcome. We're glad to have you, and hope you come back. And again, this is not a group, this is a community. What that means is that not only do we gain information, we also share information. So what you give back, we really can appreciate. Anything you have to offer to contribute. Speaking of members of the community who are giving back, this next speaker, Mr. Piotr Sławiński. They made it easier for me today with the last names because sometimes it's not that I can't understand the name, it's just my lips won't do the right thing. This is generally what happens. It's a little bit tricky. And Piotr has been a member of the community for quite some time. And we really always appreciate the information and knowledge that he has to share. He's a great speaker and fantastic at setups, as you can see. He's setting up his stuff on the screen. I can't wait to see what he has to present. I'm waiting for the title to appear because I want to do my voice. You just had it a second ago. You need some help? Piotr Gentara, are you around? There it is. Oh. All right. Get ready, folks, because this topic is very heavy, and that is the dark forest of the dead internet. Yes. Welcome, Mr. Piotr Sławiński.
Thank you very much for this warm welcome. Okay, my presentation is much less flamboyant than my predecessors. So, first of all, I think we can all agree on one thing, that the internet is broken at the moment. If you disagree, please speak up, because I would like to have this as more of a fireside chat rather than presentation, so feel free. And the broken part is that I don't really like it. I don't really like being on internet nowadays. It used to be different. But now with all the predatory actions taken by the tech bros at the Silicon Valley, it's just like, pushing me away. And with this rant, I would like to begin my presentation. So, why dark forest and why dead internet? So, first of all, the dark forest theory was the answer to Fermi paradox, which, if you remember, is why no one has contacted us, even though the universe is so big. It's because they are quiet. Because universe, like a dark forest, is full of predators, and they would like to, assault or invade any civilizations which would be so dumb to broadcast all signals all over the universe, like we do for the last 100 years. So this theory has been also mentioned, or is more like a building block of the TV series, the Three-Body Problem. I don't know if you recall that TV show and/or books. So you know what's up. And where is the connection between the dark forest and the internet? So there is as you probably know, because many of us are developers and we create the internet, that is full of ads, trackers, and everything, which if you are aware of what's lingering down there, you just don't want to be there. You just don't want to share your data. You want your data to be your own and not by signing some terms of agreements, you're just giving the data away, basically for free. So I don't know if you're old enough to remember the days where you could talk to randoms on IRC chat groups, and even during one session of like 1 hour in internet cafe, you would make friends, right? When was the last time you made friends in 1 hour over the internet, right? So this world is long gone. Right now, it's actually there's even a risk of not only being a target of some attention economy, being a target of some predatory actions from the creators of the web, but also from other users on the web, because we've heard many stories, we've seen many stories about someone getting cancelled, for good reasons, but also people being a target of hate speech, hate in general, due to some random fact that they were in a picture of an article which was about some, I don't know, crime, and the journalist was jumping to conclusions, and bada bing, bada boom, you're the target now. And that was completely not your fault. So the same thing can happen with any of your actions, comments like you put on Twitter, because nowadays the thing about Twitter is to never be the person which Twitter is talking about right now, because that's usually not a good thing. Okay, we've talked about the dark forest. Now let's focus on the dead internet theory. It used to be theory back in the 2014, 2015, which said that those nut jobs with tinfoil hats were stating that majority of the internet is bot actions, bot traffic, and bot generated content. But since the advent of the large language models, is it really a theory? I don't think so, because we have proof that, or at least sourceable material, that, for instance, in 2016, 52% of traffic was created by bots. Good bots and bad bots, like, crawlers, Google bots, whatever, Baidu Spider, whatever, but also malicious bots like scammers and just pure noise on the social media, like we've all know, and we've seen discussions, and maybe we were part of a discussion where bots were exchanging comments in an endless loop. Okay, why is it bad, right? It appears that in a attention-driven economy, it's actually profitable to create content which people would like to see, right? That's the work. That's what the social media is all about. Where we have bots there, we have marketing. Oh, that's not displaying? No, sorry. Everything is there. Don't worry. I was just mistaken by this line. So we have clickbait, we have rage bait, and we have noise of all sorts. And actually, how it raises a question. How would you determine if content you are consuming on the web was created by a genuine human or generated by one of the LLMs? You can't, because some of the things sorry for that. I want a quick break to calm myself down. In a world when you can't really distinguish between content created by a bot or a human, we tend, at least I tend to go to a place, to a safe place in the internet, and I guess we all do, consciously or subconsciously. People call it cozy web because there's this internet map of the map of internet. We have cozy web, we have the old web with all the media and stuff. We have email, we have dark web as well. And cozy web is an archipelago of places or of spaces which we feel currently most comfortable, like newsletters, Substacks, Slacks, chat groups, Discord servers. It's a place where we can easily verify that we truly have an interaction with actual human. By simply, I don't know, calling them, meeting them in person, or just, you know, we know someone for years and we know that this account wasn't created like months ago, and it can be, but it's also possible, you know. Bots are also on Discord. There's nothing easier to create a bot on Discord. But problem with that, and you probably know, you've probably seen it on Facebook groups, that those things are not indexed in any way, and they are not searchable, because good luck trying to find something on Google group, Facebook group, right? But do you know what was searchable and indexable? Forums. In the good old days, we had those forums. They were indexed. You could find results in Google, which would link directly to a forum. Every car model had a forum of their own. So if you had a problem with your car, certainly there were users who already solved that problem. But now most of them are dead or gone. Every traffic has moved to, almost every traffic has moved to Google Groups. And I don't think that's a good direction at all. All right, so do we have a solution to that problem? I just created it. So right now, we might think that we know how to determine a robot from a human, right? But to be honest, it's no longer the case, at least not for text communication, because bots have long been able to pass the Turing test. So what we could do is to enforce reverse Turing tests. You've already know them because CAPTCHAs are reverse Turing tests. But we could, I don't know if it's practical, but we should probably enforce them on every kind of communication. Like before every comment post, we should test the user if they are truly human. Because a blue check mark is no longer valid information about this subject. We could also sign the content cryptographically. This would involve some sort of cryptography. But one more thing is to have a personal agent, and by agent I mean the LLM, to do that work for us, because at least for now, bots are leaving traces of in their data. They're leaving traces of like crumbs, which you can put together and determine that this appears to be bot. Like Not because they started their conversation with as a large language model, blah blah blah. Certainly, yeah. There are more. There are more things which can be which can tell that this is indeed a bot. So, and one last thing I've added at the very last moment is the new internet. New internet is not a new concept. It's originated in the 2010s with people who actually really despise the attention economy and tech bros and ad tech from the very beginning. It's another archipelago of things. It's not a one thing. It's a many thing. It's many things like decentralized web, own your own data, permissionless web, etc. Usually involving blockchain. So, is there more? That's not yet it. I have conclusions. So sorry for this rather dark representation of the current state of things. It's just what I believe is going on right now. And to be honest, I think that the internet, as we know it, is coming to an end. And we, as a developer community, we should actually at least have in mind that in order to ethically build stuff, we need to think about all those things. Do we really want to treat people like matrix batteries, which would just drive the bots to create more stuff, useless stuff, which would just grab the attention and leave nothing else for the user? Okay, thanks you. That's all.
Oh, whoa. Woo! Okay, so wait, don't go anywhere. So, folks, I thought I was in a dark place, yeah? Until I heard that presentation. I have absolutely no trust, even of my own devices. I'm just curious, how many of you have the feeling that your laptop or your telephone is listening to you? Okay, so yeah, you know what I'm saying. All right, so this really resonates with me very much for many reasons. I just wanted to have one more question for them before they ask questions to you. How many of you are like mildly aware that there are bots everywhere, or like highly aware of the number of bots? Let's first, how many are mildly aware of the fact that there are bots everywhere on the internet? Let me see your hands. How many of you are highly aware that there are bots everywhere? Okay, that's about 50-50. Until you gave those figures, I think I was clueless. I thought maybe 10%, 15% of the traffic. I'm stunned. Anyone have a question for Piotr Sławiński?
And it was 2016, but...
and that was then, yeah, so I'm totally blown away by your presentation. Anyone have any questions for Piotr? I see someone here in the middle.
So the 2016 metric was actually the only one which was sourceable for free. I've seen numbers for the later years, but they were like, 50-ish something. So, yeah.
Hey, thanks for the great presentation. So I thought to ask your honest opinion, because while you were having this presentation, you were more showing the picture, right? But you were not expressing your opinion. So, and the question is, do you think it's bad that the content is AI generated if you cannot clearly say, is it AI generated or not? Thank you.
Did you get that?
Yep.
Okay.
So, first of all, my opinion is, you can quote me on that, is that there are many actors some of them are bad actors. And if you can, in 0 time, with very little learning curve, spew out thousands of content, thousands of articles, comments, etc. And if it happens that you are the bad actor and you're trying to, I don't know, impact the public opinion on this thing or the other, I think that is bad, because we are aware that there are bots out there, but we are like 1%, maybe less, of the users, right? That's why in one of the
Definitely
slides,
less, yeah.
in one of the slides, I put super users in parentheses. There are loads of people, users, who are not aware of that. They are like oblivious to this thing, to those things, and they can be controlled easily. And we've seen this. We've seen this with I think the most popular action of such kind was the 2016 election in the USA, which were heavily influenced by bad actors. So, and that was 8 years ago. So what else is going on right now?
So your answer is?
I'm scared, actually.
I don't blame you. You know, I have a question thank you very much. This is a very important topic. The same as security is an important topic for all of you and for all of us in terms of your code and things that you do. I am into the private LLM model. How many of you think that's a great idea? To have personal LLMs. In other words, all of your information in your company or in your family or in your organization kind of shielded within your own large language model. I think that's an interesting concept. And I have one more idea, and I'm not a developer, so don't let everyone jump down my throat. I'm here for humanity. Is it possible, do you think, that we should say that all material that is generated or created by artificial intelligence, whatever you want to call that, should be watermarked? Do you know what a watermark is? Do you think that that might be a great idea? I do too, and you know what? I think that's possible. To literally, you can see, you know the difference, because if it was created by cryptography, thank you, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. To make sure that anything that has been touched by AI, that you have a sign there that says to you, gives you a sign that this is not completely 100% human product. It's possible to do, yes?
I really hope so.
Can we build it?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Any other questions for Piotr? Okay, then, once again.
I have one last slide, one last meme.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, meme, I love it. Okay.
Okay, yeah. For in case someone would not really agree with any of my slides or myself.
And then we're going to take a 30-minute break, everyone, okay? 25 minutes, let's say, before our next speaker. Go ahead.
So in case someone would disagree with me, I have like this one, but I do not have the opportunity. So thank you very much for being so kind.
Thank you, Piotr. All right, everyone. Thank you again to Piotr. If you have any more questions or want to have a discussion with him, he'll hopefully be willing to talk to you outside. We'll see you back here in 25 minutes, okay? Have a good break, stretch your legs, do whatever you do in your breaks, free time. This is your free time, of course. All your time is free.
I think I like.
Okay, folks, 5 minutes, and we're back. We're back. 5 minutes, everybody. 5 minut. Okay, folks, we're on our way back. About 2 minutes, even less than 2 minutes. Let's get started because otherwise we'll be here until Halloween. Let's get back on track. Very interesting this evening, very interesting. Okay, we're almost ready, so folks, find your seats, please. Come on, please, come on back. Nice to see you again. Yeah. All right, folks. Yep, that was the bell. That's the gong. And so we're going to go right ahead and invite to the stage, if we can get your attention and your appreciation for Mr. Jerzy Nowiński. Can we welcome him to the stage, everybody? Give him a hand. And the topic is how to build real-time video processing web app by Share the Board. One more time, welcome Jerzy to the stage.
Yeah. Hi, hope you can hear me. You can hear me well? Great. Okay, so hello. Let me present you some information about how you may approach creation, development of video processing web application. It will be based on our experience that we have while developing Share the Board. So first, who am I? I'm a head of development in the company, and in the past I've been working as an engineering manager, development manager in various areas like telco, data governance, big data, and finally video processing and machine learning. But what is more important is Share the Board. And this is the application, web application, that is used to detect and digitize handwritten content in real time. I guess it may be interesting for you as we are using a lot of various machine learning algorithms. We use various classical computer vision algorithms. We use a lot of cool tech, which is quite new. And as well, the project itself, it's, I would say, a research and development project, because what we do often, like, we need to go beyond what is currently possible and test the new ways of how you may approach stuff. And to say it's not yet another OCR, you may see how the application is working. So we get the raw video stream, and in real time, we're trying to detect, okay, in here, in this part of the video frame, there is a handwritten content. And then we can, for example, like add it as an additional layer and provide this kind of augmented reality experience that you just saw. And what is more important, why I'm talking about it, is that like more or less half a year ago, I've been here on WarsawJS, like giving the presentation regarding the optimization in JS, and most questions were related to not to the optimization, but to the application itself. So right now, I wanted to present you more about it, more about some various decisions that we made while creating the application itself. Okay, so what we are doing? So we are doing video and data processing, and we want to create for our users first this kind of screen. So like you already seen this. So I'm going to the next one. We want as well to archive the data that we detect and provide some additional features that could like enhance the experience of users, that they could do something with what we already detected. And at the same time, we are in here providing like the platform that when the, for example, teacher or I don't know, Scrum Master is providing like running some session with the whiteboard, people joining remotely or even like in the university sitting in the back rows could see exactly what is written on the whiteboard and could interact with it via some annotation, digital annotation, like in this example. So when thinking about while creating this application, the biggest, I would say, the part of it is like this content detection engine. And it's important that we are working with the high quality video stream, so we cannot like downsize the video stream, so make it smaller. And it's real-time scenario, so it's happening, as you can see, while you are working normally with the, for example, whiteboard. And there are two choices that you can have when thinking where to place, where to calculate all of this. On the server side or on the front end. On the server side, you can run large machine learning models. You have scalability. You can scale your solution as you want currently with public cloud providers. It's just easy, more or less easy. And you can use high-performing technologies. So that's great. If you want to do it on the front end, you need to know that your users can have like really poor laptops. Office laptops could usually not that great. They could be running side processes like multiple, I don't know, Chrome windows, watching, I don't know, some movies, digging Bitcoins, etc., etc. They can do a lot of stuff which will degrade, even if they have moderate setup, moderate desktop, it still could be affected. And mostly if you think about machine learning model, you will be forced to going into the native apps. But I'd say, server side, it's not for us. Let's go with the front end. And question is, why? And mostly if you think about the processing of this kind of stream and you want to do it all the time, like we need to detect the new content, have like 1 second, max 2 seconds. So we need to, for 1 hour long session, like having 3,600 times, like try to detect this content. And if you want to do it on the server side, it's just like expensive. It's like really expensive. If for each session you want to do it, you'd pay a lot of money, and you'd need to charge your users for it, for the application. And for our application, probably they will not pay that much. So why not have it for free? And you can just run it into distributed architecture. So just run everything on the client side. And I said that in the past, it was true that when you want to use machine learning algorithm, you want to have them, you probably better go with the native application. Right now, you can do it in the web app. You can just, for example, if you want to process like using classical computer vision algorithm, you can use WebAssembly. You have an access to the GPU via the WebGL or like WebGPU recently. And the hardware is what we observe with our startup. It's like having already a few years. It's really getting better and better. So even integrated graphic cards right now are behaving quite well and working quite well. And at the same time, for example, ARM architecture, great for machine learning. So if you have, like, for example, Mac, it will be running our stuff really fast. And additional pros, it's like we don't have any privacy issue. Like we have a little bit of them because we are processing this, what has been written on the table, but we don't have any privacy content related with sharing the images of people. What are they doing in the front of the camera? And this is like big thing, because if you want to sell something to the big company, they have like the policies for this kind of video sharing like this. If you want only some written content, it will be like this. So it's much easier to go into these kind of companies and you don't need to protect this data as much. As at the same time, it's a little bit more greener than like using the public cloud providers, because if I'm going to AWS, they will need to purchase, for example, new node, new server to manufacture it. And in this case, we are reusing what already users have, so additional pros. So some tips and tricks regarding the video processing and regarding working with machine learning in JS, in generally in web application. When you are using, for example, TensorFlow JS to execute the model, you may check, this is something that you may, I think it's good to remember about it, you may select the engine and you can run it on the CPU, so having JS or WebAssembly engine. Usually these are slower. JS usually is the slowest one. There are some few cases in which it is okay. Usually if you want to go with running the stuff on the CPU, go with WebAssembly. If you want to use GPU, Usually it's faster, but then sometimes it can affect how your web application, the user interface will render itself. So then you may go with WebGL. Recently introduced WebGPU, providing more direct access to the GPU. But like when we are working with it, like more or less 1 year ago when it was like released publicly, then with the old hardware setup, it was performing better. And since we want to optimize for the poorest, I would say, hardware, it was not for us, but generally it may be case. Probably we'll look once again in the future to look into the web GPU. If you have computational heavy stuff, go with WebAssembly and use some component writing, for example, C++. You can run it in the web browser. You can use web workers if you have something that can be run, like some processing, video processing, data processing, can be run in background. Just use it. Next, like almost the last thing, if you are thinking, for example, okay, I have machine learning solution, it's sometimes, I would say even often, it's good to combine it with the classical computer vision solution algorithm. So you can have, if you think, okay, I have I'm using machine learning, you are not stuck to it. You can add some classical computer vision algorithm. It will be fine. And short thing, because on the last presentation I was talking more about it. You can rewatch the video, which is still on YouTube, about our story when we are creating our own model. But generally, I would say why you should not do it, because you can waste a ton of your time and money. Results can be far from perfect. In generally, it's something that go with your own network. You need to have machine learning engineer to start, and it needs to provide you really strategic advantage. That it's something that there is nothing to the market that will suits your idea. You want to have it, then maybe build your own network. But if you are like working as a front-end developer, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can just, for example, use open source solution pre-built models, and then you don't need to train them. You don't need to get the training data. You just use them. In our case, for example, if we want to detect silhouette of the person who is like in the front of the board, we can just use body pics, which is just there running quite fastly because it's like running in the low-res images. It's using low-res input. Or, for example, recently we are working on the new feature, it's quite common on the market, like to provide audio transcription. And there is Whisper, which is really, the model is quite good. It's not, you don't need a lot of resources to run it, and you can just take the model and even deploy it yourself on, I don't know, AWS. If your scale is not that big, if it's big, probably having some VM with dedicated GPU will be better. One thing to remember, if you can do something in 5 minutes, probably others can do too. So if you're thinking about your new great product, probably the competition can just copy it and release same solution. So it's nice to remember it. And one thing that I want to mention in this topic, you can even go further. And with it, you can see that one of the things that we wanted to achieve is to go from this image, like the image video overlay, having this image, to go into the data format, which is you can modify. It's digitized, but it's editable as well. So we wanted how we can approach it, use OCR, that's simple. But unfortunately, all the OCR systems are not working that good if you have this kind of data, which doesn't have nice structure. If you are working normally with the whiteboard, often you are mixing languages, you are adding some dashes, and for this OCR, it's like the results were far from perfect, I would say. So instead, also quite recently, OpenAI, half year ago, the OpenAI released vision-to-text API. And it's just great because in this case, we can just provide the image of the content to the model and receive some text representation, which is great for transcribe, but as well you can in here create via it some visualization using Mermaid, which is one of the format on how can you visualize diagrams. But something that you should remember, it sounds great, but regarding the OpenAI, that you use only as a service, just put your credit card there and you are safe. But not exactly. And for example, what can happen is that you, using their like model, you do a lot around it to provide like the good results to your users' clients. Great. But the next day they are saying, okay, you are modifying our model or adding something new. And then it doesn't work that well. You need more token. There are some limit about how many tokens you can have, you can use. Even if you want to pay, I know one of the projects that they were having money, they were having the good business use case for their application, but could not go after some threshold because the Microsoft Azure said them, okay, you have a limit, and really there is a limit, and that after which you need to talk directly with Microsoft, and maybe they will give you more, maybe not. But for me, like there is also price tag. It's kind of costly. But the biggest issue that I notice as, with the OpenAI is the stability. Really, this is something. Thankfully, we are adding like the beta tag to the feature because the amount of time this OpenAI is like down is really really high. It's like I expect. Okay, they're having so much money. Probably their service will be great. It is not. From my experience, we have a health check connected to the services we are using to the API, and it's really that like service is downgraded for a long period of time. So the question is, do I hate OpenAI? The answer is no, I rarely hate anything, to be honest. And in this case, still, even though they're having a lot of issues, we were able to build this kind of stuff, which is really like 1 year ago, it will be for us, wow, like having this kind of result will be just great. And we build it really, really quick. Like we right now doing a lot of post-processing, which is taking more time if we adding the new, I would say, use cases for it. But in generally, it was like, whoa, that's cool. And without anything. Probably with one more thing about the previous stuff, probably in the future, we are thinking that if we'll get more users, probably we'll get some open source model like Llama and just run it on our side because it will be mostly more stable. Okay, so right now a little bit about the architecture of the solution because I told you about how we detect the content, but right now, sorry for the image, it was like originally it was good, but like conversion to Mac kind of killed it. But how to transfer the data that we have to our users, the video, the data. And we thought, okay, let's go with WebRTC and in parallel with the implementation Janos server. So we want to, via the video channel, to send the video with the content which is overlaid. And in the RTC data channel, we want to send the content only, which will not be like compressed with the loss, without any loss. So we want to provide it with the high quality, no matter if the connection, the bandwidth of the user is not that great. We are using like Janos, sending the data, and to be honest, it's like look great, but it's not. It's in our case, it was not working at all. And you may wonder why we failed. And there are like two reasons. One is like none of them is technical. Like technically, we built it, it was running okay. We simulate like big session, it was fine. But first, the costs. If we want to go with the using the, for example, AWS, then we have managed service, which you can scale easily. You can, it's managed, so it's easier for you to maintain it, but it will cost you a lot. It's like we calculated the cost of running it, and it was way, way too high. There is an option, like for example, Zoom is doing it, Google with the Google Meets is doing it, Windows with the Teams is as well doing it, and you can make a business, but usually it's based on the long rental. You have the servers, I don't know, VMs, clean VMs, or like bare metal hardware that you rent for 2 years, and okay, in this case, the cost of the infrastructure will be much, much lower, and as well you have the administrator on your end, so if you are a big company, it's easier for you to handle the big infrastructure on your side. But what is more important is that if we should even build a video conferencing application, like our business is detecting the content, and if I like give you application, okay, we detect this content. If you work with the whiteboard, do you want to use instead of your favorite video communicator, our communicator? Probably you'd say, maybe. But if you are going to the big company, no big company will tell you, okay, we are switching our license that all the users are like our employees are already used to, and we are moving to your new no-name solution. No one will do it. So what have we done? So the start is the same. So we are calculating a lot of it in the web application on the front end, and then we are sending compressed content via our backend, which is like we are having Redis as a cache, and as well to we are using a PubSub mechanism from Redis. Then we have standard relational database. We use S3 buckets to archive our data to store it. As well, we are using in our backend Nest.js, which is like our application is deployed on ECS, which is like managed Kubernetes by AWS. And then what we are doing with the video, it's interesting. We are not sending it by ourselves, because why should we? We are just asking our users, okay, if you want to have this like video, like content over video, use your favorite communicator, and for example, share the screen, or use our application as a content camera, because we taken our application, put it into the Electron, and then we are serving it as a way to build a virtual camera, which is detecting content and providing this kind of funny content, which is like over the video. And they're just using it as a standard camera on their desktop. And this way is cheap, it's lightweight, and our single node could like serve. Recently, we were testing like 200, 300 users at the same time. So it's really, we don't pay that much for our backend. And the last stuff that I have, it's what issue we have, what some of them we didn't manage to fix yet, delays and the data compression. So first thing, delays with the providing the content to the users. And the first one is like sometimes if the user have the poor video connection, poor bandwidth connection, poor internet, we are going with the adaptive protocol, so not sending once per second this content, so it's like kind of live, but just providing it from time to time, so it's like with less frequency. So experience is slightly worse, but it's not that bad. The bigger problem that we have is with this content camera that I mentioned, that due to the fact that we are not only detecting the content, we are also creating this virtual camera that can be consumed by Windows, in this case OS. Then the users are running at the same time video conferencing application. It's taking really a lot of memory, CPU power. So this is something in which right now we are moving some of the component, the content detection component, into the native, I would say, side application, side process, which will be fully native. Because if you run something on WebAssembly, it's faster than JS. But if you run the native application and you want to run C++ code, runs your machine learning model, it will be faster. It will be much easier to be done. And last stuff is about this content, sending high quality content over the internet. And this is interesting stuff because we first, like, you can see how the data is looking. So this is this part. And we just like compress it with the PNG and send the PNG over the internet. And it was quite okay, but still a little bit too much data for the users, especially with these poor internet connections. So we thought, okay, let's vectorize this content. So then if we put it into vectorized format, then it should be smaller. And the funny thing, it was not smaller. We then compress it, so it was slightly smaller, but finally we decided, okay, let's send only the raw data. We created our own compression algorithm because the data that we have is kind of special that you can see there are not so many, I would say, dark pixels. A lot of it is white. It's black or the two colors, or depending on, we have like 4 classes of colors, to be honest, that we can have. So you can compress it based on our use case. And right now we are doing it. And we still want to vectorize the content because it's providing the like nice curves to it. But we are doing it on the end user side. So yeah, I believe that's all. I believe that I managed to be in time. Yeah. So,
One more time, give a big hand, please, to Jerzy Nowiński. Thank you, and yes, you were very, very, exactly, precisely on time. Does anyone have any questions for Jerzy?
Thank you very much for the nice presentation. I'm amazed about this. I have a question about the detection of the words, actually, or the text that is written, because what I saw on the pictures that you showed us, it was mostly written in the capital letters, or even small capital letters. How is it about like bad handwriting? Yeah, because you know people have it. And also another question: does it support already languages, like different languages than English?
Yeah, so to be honest, like if you are using these new generative AIs, they are like scary good. Like even I'll just raise it to the ground because how good they work. Really, it's working great. That if you are being as a human being able to recognize what is written, probably it will detect, like recognize, transcribe it as well. And what's more, it can even take what the context and interpretation of what have been written. Because in fact, it's like, it's being able to turn the image into like more or less the text and then interpret text like the Open API. And then it have the power, for example, you have the image that I show you, there are some math classes that, to be honest, I don't know what is happening there. But if I run our like right now analysis model, the prompt needs to be quite specific about it, and it's still sometimes not providing the exact what you want on the first run. Sometimes you need to give it like 2 tries. But in general, results are great if you see it. For the commercial purposes, it's been rated like between 5 on 10, usually to 10 to 10. Sometimes providing like amazing like interpretation and visualization. Sometimes it's okay. You can see that, for example, some values are not exactly the same. That if you have the charts, because for example, it can interpret and digitize charts, and we can then visualize these charts. And for example, it could sometimes add additional bar if it's a bar chart. So it can make mistakes, but we provide like the interface which allow you to correct them on the fly. So kind of fixing it. What is important is that usually with like the models like large language models, you can use like fine-tuning or RAG to improve the quality of the results. And unfortunately, with the images, it's not possible. You cannot have, like, I don't know, linked any database and improve the results. But even without it, it's really, really good. To be honest, going to 4.0 slightly degraded the service. This is what I mentioned about what they're changing in the model and forcing you to go with the models. But on the other hand, right now it's much cheaper. So some pros and cons.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, here.
Oh.
I was wondering about 2 things. First, does it work with a blackboard instead of a whiteboard?
Like it could, but, and this is about the various languages. It could support various languages, but right now we are only Latin language we are supporting, because we don't support other ones because we don't have clients from other, like the Chinese, Arabic. It's working, but we don't even look on it. With the blackboards, we could, because to be honest, we have 2 algorithms like to detect the content. One is mostly based on the classical computer vision. The second one is based on the machine learning. The one with the classical, unfortunately, will never work. The second one, if we would have the customers who said, okay, I want to have it, we could train the model for the blackboards and have it, we even have the training data. But till now, there will be only few universities who ask about that, maybe you will have it or not. Okay. But because of that, we didn't even care.
Okay, and my second short question is?
Good question, I like that.
Yeah, short question. Or maybe I'll talk to you later.
Wow, yeah. By the way, folks, yeah, just for the sake of time, because we still have a couple of presentations left, if you can manage to combine your question into one, as our wonderful guest here did, that is really helpful. Anyone else have any questions for Jerzy?
Hi. I have a question about this complexity you described. You showed us that things get messy, get hard to compute, but it's all on the presenter's side, right?
Yes.
Not on the receiver's side.
Yes, exactly. On the receiver right now, on the last slide was the vectorization. So we've taken the guys agree with it. So the already prepared vectorization algorithm, and we just run it on the client side because it's not that heavy. We can run it on mobile phones. We can run it on any desktop. So it's okay. And we just do it in sake of the data compression because we still perform the vectorization on the presenter side. But mostly all the stuff that we need to calculate is on the presenter side.
Okay, so it pretty much invalidates my other questions. Aren't you afraid of your property? If it's in the browser, it can be reverse engineered.
It is in the web browser. It is in the web browser.
It is on the presenter side, so probably it's your client. So
no, you can have a free trial. The answer is no. Yeah, what you can do, if you take our mimified code and try to re-engineer it, probably it will be easier for you to just build it from the scratch, I guess. So yeah, no.
So no special treatment.
No. In fact, we are right now patenting our solution, so right for the patent, but mostly due to for the investor sakes. And yeah.
I think we have time for one more. Does anyone in the back have a question for Jerzy? Oh, there's one right there.
You mentioned performance problems with Electron app, probably because Electron has a whole browser in it. Why are you using Electron for your application? Why not something like React Native macOS or React Native Windows?
Because it was just easier and cheaper to just put there. Mostly, in fact, we are as well. We had to prepare. I didn't mention it. We have to prepare as well separate library, which is written in the native C++, which will handle all the system calls from the Windows, because you cannot get an access to the to the system interfaces, and we need to have system interfaces because we need to provide it as a virtual camera. So mostly due to the speed of the implementation and to just lift and shift it. And right now, even if we use any, we have to be honest, to be able to run it quickly, to run bigger models, we just have to have them as a native code, written like native application. We just have DirectX written in C++ or C or whatever.
I think you can still do that from React Native, macOS, and Windows. I already reached out to you on LinkedIn, so accept me and we can talk later.
Okay, great.
Maybe
sure.
we can help out.
All right. Folks, thank you very much. Please give one big hand, another hand for Jerzy Nowiński. Totally awesome, ready for every question. I love when that happens. By the way, folks, I think we're going to change this. So I think in the future what we'll do, because of you, we'll make it like this. Only ask a question if you have two questions. No, it's a joke. I'm just kidding. Very interesting, and clearly people are very interested in what you had to say. So thank you very much once again.
If
folks,
you have any more questions, please reach me on LinkedIn via email.
Don't forget to take down the contact screen, capture the QR code, and thank you again, Jerzy. Very much appreciated. Thank you. See you next time. See you soon. All right, folks, we have one surprise lightning talk coming. I just found out tonight that this is going to happen. A very interesting idea. And before that happens, and then we'll also have a couple of minutes for the survey. We'd love for you to fill out the survey. Let us know what you think, what we can do better, what you'd like to see included, what you'd like to see cut out. Just don't make it me, please. Thank you. And we're going to do the survey in between. And now I'd like to invite you to the stage for our first lightning talk. This is going to be 5 minutes, followed by just a couple of questions. Mr. Oskar Kordek. Welcome, Oskar, to the stage. Have fun. 5 minutes, sir.
1, 2, 3. Okay. So this will be a less technical topic. I want to talk about my perfectionism. So let me share with you my everyday journey, right? So that's how I see my choices that I make during the day in my work. But there is no sun, there are no trees, there is no sky, there is no green grass, unfortunately, there is no road, but there is a man, oh my God, too fast, and his computer, right? So basically, it starts with a simple task. I got a task to just build a button that copies content to the clipboard with JavaScript, right? It's pretty easy. You know it from all over the web. So how do we solve this? Oh, I can't control this. Maybe I can use just the keyboard. So basically, yes, this is how you solve it. We have very convenient API for controlling clipboard. Thanks for attention. This was my no, it would be too easy. Okay, so we don't have HTTPS. So it's early development. So I need to be a little bit more creative. I have a couple of choices. I can just tell my manager that no HTTPS means that we won't have any kind of clipboard copy feature. But, well, I'm too ambitious for that. So that's not an option. I could just copy some solution from Stack Overflow as normal developer would. But let me show you this. I mean, you know why it's cursed, right? You have to create this ugly text area that's only for this purpose, and then you remove it from DOM, and then you use this deprecated exec command. So, no way, I'm not doing this. Just use a library. Well, I might, but more leaps is more kilobytes, is slower page load, so generally less better. And also, yeah, you can be vulnerable for supply chain attack, right? And it makes me feel a little bit less in control. So, yeah. So I can also spend an entire day trying to find the perfect solution and give up in the end. So that's exactly what I did. So this is my code. I thought I crafted perfectly. So as it appeared, browsers also have this nice API about selecting range. And you can actually call this deprecated exec command on this particular range of text. So I was pretty happy with that. I even made some playwright tests, actually first time in my life. It was super fun. They worked. I liked it very much. I deployed it, and it didn't work in the production. This presentation was supposed to have very different tone, but when I deployed it, I tested, it didn't work. So basically, yeah, I used the lib. So why do I talk about any? Obviously, I try to be funny, but deep down in my heart, I feel like this sentence. Wise man once said that developers project the insecurities into the code base. And this man was actually Przemysław Konefał on the last meetup. And it inspired me, actually, because I think that this is why we are in community, right? So we can talk not only about these super technical topics, we can also talk about how do we feel in work, and yeah, more about psychology of being a developer. So yeah, that's why I think WarsawJS is a great community.
I agree. Oscar, That was a little bit of a joke when you started speaking about the psychology of development. I just thought that was the perfect moment to ring, to ring the bell. Anyone have a question for Oscar? Questions for Oscar in the back? Oh, here goes one. Wait, hold on. Like, why didn't you do it this way instead of that way? Hold on. Okay, hold on. Oh, you have it. Okay.
Why didn't it work?
Well, I might find it one day. I suspect. I have no idea. Honestly, I thought it was good time to just ditch that approach, and yeah, I just used the lib. So.
Everyone, please give another big hand to Oscar Kordek, member of the community. I love it. I love it when people come and they offer information. They share themselves with everyone, because I think you guys, folks, share a lot of things in common. There are certain issues that you face and certain psychology that comes with this particular profession, and it's nice to hear people talking about it. This is a surprise one, right? All right, maybe. So yeah, today a friend of ours came, and he has a really interesting concept, I think, that he would like to present to you. It's 5 minutes. It's an app. He built it, apparently, and it seems like it's really something that you, I'd like to, for you folks to hear about and give your feedback. Are we ready? What? Where are we? We're at the top of Warsaw at the Financial Center. Of course we have an internet connection. Of course we do. And then after that, okay, so we'll talk about the psychology of software development. It's been my observation, and this is just my personal view after being invited to spend a lot of time with you folks over the past 4 or 5 years. I have a question. Do we see ourselves in this room largely as, it's going to be, some hands are going to go up for one question, other hands up for the other, more as service providers or as product purveyors? So are we developing products or are we providing services? How many people are for services? And how many are building products? Oh, this is pretty encouraging, okay, because I'll tell you why. It's about the psychology thing. I'm thinking and everyone knows this. I spoke to my friend out in Los Angeles. He works for Oculus or something like this. Very, very high-level developer, I promise you. And he says, those people in Poland are really talented. I mean, you have, do you realize what? I said, yeah, I know. However, I had the feeling that we were really wrapped up here in sort of waiting to see what happens and then catching up. And I'm not sure how much we realize that we can actually be in the forefront, to actually drive the development of software. And I'm just curious as to whether we psychologically understand the kind of power and talent that you have here. It's just a question. It's a psychological question. I've expressed this also to my friend Piotr. It's like I just get the feeling that people are sitting sometimes waiting to see what happens next. I remember I was in fact, at the CallSec, the React Native EU conference last year, and there was a question asked to someone in the audience. There was a huge audience, and the answer they gave was, we don't know, we'll have to wait to see what the technology does. And I thought to myself, what the technology does? Aren't you folks the ones making the technology? It really blew me away. That was what made me start to think and try to sort of express to you that I really see this community in Poland, not only in Warsaw, as being capable, very capable, of rather stepping into the driver's seat and kind of establishing the forefront of where this is all going. And of course, hopefully, because we're in Poland, more for the sake of humanity as opposed to for the sake of commerce and business and giving more privilege to those who already have so much. So that's how I see it, and I just thought I'd share that while we got the screen going. Are we ready? Everybody all right? Was I saying something terrible? No. Very funny. All right, now come on. We have to get this up because I thought this was such a really inspiring idea that I said, well, are you, he was expressing the idea. I said, well, have you built it? He's like, yeah, it's built. Here it is. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, okay, well. So maybe we can get Mikołaj to the stage first so we can meet him. Mikołaj, you here? Mikołaj.
Hello, hello? Yeah, hello.
All right, so folks, what is your last name? You never introduced
Wojciech.
Wojciech?
Wojciech.
Wojciech.
Mikołaj, Miomi.
Mikołaj. But this is the one you were talking about. Okay, because...
No, there is also Chris later. Next presentation is later.
Folks, Mikołaj Wojciech.
Hello, guys.
Welcome
nice to meet
to
you.
the stage. Talk to them. Tell them what it's all about.
Okay. It's quite funny because I came just for network and now I pitch. So, hello. Let's start. Okay. You know, guys, I just created an application to improve how we network because we all have many contacts: phone number, email, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, portfolio, and other things. And when you meet someone like today, what do you give? Your LinkedIn, your phone number, your WhatsApp. It depends. And I think in 3 years there will be one app for all your contacts and all your sub profile. That's why I created Just Click, build lifetime connection and employee network. So, how crucial is a network to achieve your goals? It's everything, because without contacts you can do nothing. You can be in your house alone, but without no one you can grow. Our mission, what we want to do, like we want to create one application for every of your social platforms to have, because we have differently. We have many applications to communicate, but we need one to connect and to have your contacts and to keep it following on your life. Because actually, when you go to an event, you give your business card sometimes, or you have a business card, but this gives you really nothing about the KPI. I go often to some event, I give my business cards to 1 people, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm happy. But to the next day, nothing. No email, no contact, no context, nothing. Then it's always hard to organize the contacts. Your customer, your prospect, your company, your colleagues, and everything. And then the most important is the context. Today we met in BSc Poland, and we know that we met today for one thing, talking about GS and the Warsaw banking community. And I think if you take my contact today, in 1 month, in 3 days, you'll forget me. You don't know what I do, or why I'm doing this, and everything. And it's always hard to reconnect. That's why we made one thing to solve this. That's your network. You have your customer, your partners, your investors, conference attendee, influencer, and much more. How do you want to organize it? It's really hard, impossible. But then, after the event, you met me, you met you, we met. Cool, we are there. How do you want to follow up? You give to one Facebook, to one LinkedIn, to one your business cards, to one your email. And it's a total maze. And it's always hard to really reconnect after the event, because you are not there just to listen to me. You are there to make something, to tomorrow contact someone and make something and to build, like a project or something, whatever. And we want to solve it by making one application we integrate every profile in one platform. Something funny, we do for the context, we make pictures. That I met you, I'll take with you a picture. To have your face, because we are all visual, and to remember afterwards when we met and everything. And then make some update, reminders, and some personal follow-up. How it works. We met, we take a picture together, I put some context. Nice to meet you at BSc Poland. Happy to meet you next time for the coffee. You categorize with tags, partners, customer, friends, colleagues, whatever you want, and then you stay engaged with reminders. That's, in a way, the things. One profile, that's me. You have my bio, blah, blah, blah. Pro, social, there are 3 different profiles. Your tags. If someone is looking for a guy in business, he find me. Design, networking, whatever. A bio, and then you have call me, email me, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, X, your website, your portfolio, your Calendly, whatever you want. I think it's worth to change our habits, actually, because if you give my LinkedIn, it will give it nothing. But then you can really see who I am, how we can collaborate, and how we can grow. Then you can organize your people, partners, prospects, colleagues to follow up or not, whatever you want. And at the end, you have this kind of network. all partners, friends, customer, and everything. People clicked in real life, online, and then you have people, their tags, you can call them, chat with them. It's a super app for network. And that's more for the business. We want to work in France and Poland. We want to organize all your contacts, all our different networks and everything in one. And the AI, yeah, that's the point, as always. Imagine an AI that say, who did I meet at the last event? Which people can help me to find a job as developer or whatever you want? Who should I reach to find a partnership opportunity? Imagine you have one database, all your contacts, all your contacts, everything. And you just ask, who I need to reach for an event in New York? Who I need to reach to make some, to break a project about insurance for food, for dog food, whatever you want. But much more. After some more categorization by AI who make some matchmaking. You are at an event. You are a developer, front-end, back-end, JS, whatever you want. How do you want to connect? We need to go to somewhere and ask him. Imagine in the application, you go to the event, WarsawJS 117, and there are notifications. Are you free to meet someone who can be your partner? Yes, no. Yes, I'm free, yes. And then meet Lucas, table A. Connect. Met Jerzy, table B, and everything, much more. That's not interesting, that's for the business, okay, interview, whatever, analysis, okay, whatever. We don't compete, we manage. One app for X, LinkedIn, and everything.
I'm sorry, that's 5 minutes. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Mikołaj. I'm so sorry.
No, yeah, normal, thanks.
We have a question. We have a question.
Please.
We have.
Thanks.
We have time for only one question. Is there a question?
Yes, please.
Okay, here you go. No, it was.
So, why do you think people want to have an abstraction layer on the top of their social networks? Because I think there are very specific networks to specific needs, and you want to abstract them away. And yeah, I'm just want to know your opinion. Why do you think people want to have that?
There are two things. I think first, as we see how much people we met 20 years ago. 20 years ago, we met in 1 year 100 people. In this day, we met in 1 year 1,000 people. So at the end, it will grow and more. I think for sure in 3 years, there will be one app for everything. For all your contacts, all your things, as I said. Why I think it's needed? Because I need it first. That's the first thing. I see that people, I want to go to events, need it more, that we want to create some lifetime connection, not have followers on Instagram. That gives you nothing. You can have the followers, we put some likes, and when they are in Dubai, woo, nothing. But I want to know that you are a developer, you work in this, I have a project, I have a dream to do, and I need a developer who have the knowledge for it. And I say, I met this guy at the BSC Poland. Maybe you want to collaborate. Why not? And it's just not to connect, it's to reconnect. And I think, for sure, in 3 years, there will be something like this to aggregate all your platform in one.
Good answer.
I have a question because it looks for me that when you give someone the contact through your app, then this person has access to all of your contacts like other platforms. But for some reason, some people give only like phone number, only an email, and so on. How do you deal with that so that the people don't see like all of the contact information, like my phone number, email address, and so on?
That was my question too.
No, good question. No. For this, we create something easy. Profiles. You have 3 profiles. One public that everyone can see. And you put whatever you want for everyone. One pro when you have your things. And one social. So one more time. Public profile, pro, and private. So to me, you will give only the pro. Okay, he will give me everything. Oh, awesome. But it's up to you. You create a free profile, and you decide to who you want to give which one. That's fair?
But for example, if you have like a private profile, like it's one of them, yeah? You have like private, pro, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The third one, sorry, I didn't remember it. Social, thank you. So for example, you have like this private one, yeah? But still you want to say like, okay, to this person I only want to give this one, and to this person I only want to give this contact. I don't want that they will contact me always on WhatsApp, for example. I want only that they will, I don't know, send me only an email. Yeah, let's call it like email, yeah, or something like this. You know, that you have like 3 profiles, but I see that there might be like more different approaches to it through different people.
So how I see things is that first, yeah, I said you have 3 profiles. So to each one of you, you decide what do you give. Second, if you want to communicate, you can still use your contacts, like your WhatsApp or email, whatever you want. It's more about a passport. That's your passport, pro-social creative, pro-social and public. And for me, how I use it, I give this to everyone as my identity, digital. And if you want to reach me on or if you want to see my Instagram, you can see it. If you want to see my portfolio, you can do it, or whatever you want. It's only up to me what I give. And to answer to the question, who was more about first the profile, and then you ask me for the communication, you can still use your things. But you know, I think first it's about yourself. How much you want to show yourself to people. Do you want to be really? It's up to you. You have the choice. That's why there are profiles. For me, I think that, as said Barry about the security and the things, we are in a year that maybe the MacBook listen to me and everything, maybe the Apple listen to me and they create a concurrent, whatever. But we can't go outside the box in a way about this. And I think that if you want to share, it's not for everyone. First, yeah, I
always think it's brilliant when people build things and they come up with very innovative ideas. And I also think that you're in the right place, because the things that we do when we fine-tune come from finding out like what we have and what people's specific needs are and how we can really adapt this to very special use cases. To me, it's something that I'm terrified of, and that I can see has also great potential. I'm really curious to see what it comes to, what happens with it.
For sure.
Thank you so much, Mikołaj.
Thanks.
Let's give him a really big hand. Thank you.
Thanks.
We just don't have time for any more questions because, oh boy, I just forgot who's coming. Yeah, we have one more lightning talk coming. In the meantime, we have a survey. Can we put up the survey first for 2 minutes before the next lightning talk? Is that possible? Yes. If you would not mind, folks, just to take 3 minutes of your time just to fill out this very short survey about WarsawJS Meetup. We would really appreciate it. Please scan this QR code, and in 3 minutes we'll be back with our next lightning talk. Thank you so much for your patience. By the way, Mikołaj, yes and no. Yes and yes. There's something there that is very great. I just can't put my finger on it. I'm loving it. All right, and our next talk is going to be from Chris Błaszczyk. Looking forward to that. It's really important that you folks give us feedback, because that was where I found out that, in fact, I was really insulting a few people by not pronouncing their names properly. Now, it just so happens that I have a couple of handicaps here. One of them is that I'm an English native speaker. The second is that I only see through one eye. So when I'm reading a name, a lot of things could happen. Oh, there's one more. And also, I'm 105 years old. So it happens sometimes that it just becomes a little more complicated. Of course, my intention is never to upset or to insult anyone, and to try to treat each person and their name with respect. However, yeah, if you have little, what do we call them, pet peeves, or things that you would recommend that we could include here, we really, really welcome your feedback. So thank you very much. Błaszczyk, yes? Thank you. Thank you. No, I'm really sensitive to that now, because I was like, what? Someone was insulted? I disrespected someone? Absolutely not. We've said that this is a community where whomever is here will be treated with respect, and that means that I should treat each person with respect as well, right? I'm not just going to throw your first or second name away and just say it any way I want to say it. I'm going to ask you, hopefully, how it's pronounced, and then hopefully do a good job actually making that happen. Speaking of magic, I think we're about to see something appear on the screen. I don't know if we're still streaming. If we are, for our online audience, please don't forget to check the library and the archives on our WarsawJS station, because there you will find a host of different lightning talks and topics which you may have missed. And there's a lot of great stuff on there. You can also reach us at WarsawJS.com. And if you have an idea to either become a volunteer here, you can make it from wherever you are, or if you have an idea for a talk of your own. This audience is, I always say it's an easy audience. Of course, that's not exactly the truth. It's like a very discerning audience. A very discerning audience, very knowledgeable, and this is a great place to be if you're looking to get new information, to really up your skills, to learn something, or even to find out what the trends are. Are we ready, sir? Okay, so it's going to be coming. Before that happens, let me see what I was going to ask you. I had a whole bunch of jokes to tell, but I'm terrible telling jokes in Polish, so I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do, I had actually a game in mind. I was going to think, okay, we have something in America. We have these things called idioms, yes? So I'm just going to try this once. Let's see if it works out and we have time. This is going to be tricky. So the idiom is, the thing is that I take an American idiom, and then you take it and you apply it to your work as a software developer. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Just tell me a situation. So here we go, Jerzy. The idiom is, no pain, no gain. How does it work with you?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
How does it work? Tell me, how does it apply?
Yeah, for example, you need to, if you want, because we are selling our software and to the educational services, and if you want to sell it to them, you need to go for so many processes, like going so many processes, security audition, etc., etc. It's like going through hell. Yeah, it is a pain, but yeah, if you finish it, it is again, you have a customer.
Okay,
so
thank you very much. That works. Let's see. Next idiom, American idiom. Time is money.
How does it work with software development? It actually depends, but what can I say is overtime is not paid in most cases.
Overtime is not paid.
Or even if to combine with the previous one, overtime is your pain. Yeah.
I love that. I love it. Overtime is your... Wait, say it again. Say it again. What?
I was saying that overtime is your pain because probably you didn't finish everything, anything. Yeah.
Give this back. The expression is time is money. That's the idiom in English. And how does that work with software development again?
Maybe then it's more about AWS services.
They liked it. They liked it.
Or even Microsoft Azure more. Yeah.
Okay, see, they liked it. Okay, let me see. One more American expression, idioms that we use all the time. I just was thinking, let's see. Hindsight is 20/20 vision. Has anyone ever heard that? Hindsight is 20/20 vision. We have someone who has an answer. How does that work with software development? I'm curious. Hindsight, that means looking back.
In Polish, it's analiza wsteczna zawsze skuteczna. And in practice, it seems that when you abruptly end a project for a customer, maybe for an important customer, then you realize that you shouldn't really even take the project from the start. Like.
Excellent. You know what? I can see it. Actually, I hope everyone understood that. I can see that. I can think, of course, I don't develop software for a living. I'm very exposed, or maybe overexposed even to it. Okay, we have one more. I like that. The saying is hindsight. That means looking back is 20/20 vision. It's perfect vision. So your vision is always perfect when you're looking back, yes? And Piotr, that was a great analysis. Yes, sometimes right after finishing the project, okay, I didn't have enough time for testing, the thing is probably going to break down in 2 seconds, and the client was really, let's say, not that easy to work with. Sometimes you realize that only after, right after you've delivered, and then you go, what was that all about anyway? Yeah, now I realize that maybe it might have been a better idea to do something else. Okay, one more. We still have time? What's going on?
Now Chris will still connect to the Wi-Fi, and before I wanted to announce that the next month, so September, is actually our 10th anniversary of our community. Yeah, so it's been quite a lot of meetups, 118 exactly, and I mean it's going to be 118th meetup, and because of that we're going to arrange a very special meetup. It will be bigger than usual, something like 130 people can go into Snowflake's office next month, and it's going to be on 11th of September, always the second Wednesday as usually. And for that, we need some support from the community, because it's expensive to buy additional features for a meetup. So we thought that we might sell in a promotional price our yearly pass for WarsawJS. So you can go on that 12 times a year. And it's for 120 PLN brutto, right? Yeah, for 420. Yes. Did I say one? No. Yes, I said one. So it's possible to buy the ticket now, so that we will have some funds for our celebration next month. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to say, and but obviously you can buy also a regular ticket for the next okay, Barry.
No, I want to say thank you for 9 years of WarsawJS. Come on, this is almost 10. No, I have an important question, and this is why I'm thanking you. How many people learned something today? I just have to see a show of hands. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, this is the reason that you deserve thanks. Are you ready, Chris? Błaszczyk, yes? Everybody, welcome Chris Błaszczyk to the stage.
Hey everyone, do you hear me? I guess yes. So my name is Chris, and now I can call myself official founder, because a few days ago I've released my SaaS application. And as Barry mentioned, it's not something that happened only for the Silicon Valley. Warsaw can play this game too. So let me introduce you to the work sonar.io. Yes, the domain was expensive. It's a tool that lets you track developer activity, or if you prefer, measure productivity. By Slack activity status and a Git integration, we can visualize on the timeline how our team is working throughout the day. So basically, I'm working as a consultant for several teams, and I noticed that few of team members don't even bother to show up on the Slack. So let's spy on them. Sounds creepy. Well, we all live in an age of mass layoffs, right? So don't worry. I guess all of us here give 110% during the day at work, right? Right? Yeah, okay. So I am the perfect example of it. Let me show you my data. The data is real, and the team agreed to show it. And basically, this is my team. And the first one is me. And you can see the timeline, my activity during the day. The green status is a status based on Slack status. And the dots on the line are commits. So basically, you can see that I am committing regularly. Even the day before, it's pretty much the same. I am online almost whole day. And I am active during my time zone, which is the line below. So, as I mentioned, I am gold standard here. And sorry. Yeah, some of them are. But yeah, let's check on my colleague. Yeah. Let's fun begin. Yeah. Let's say Joe. Joe doesn't even bother to show up on the Slack. He doesn't even push a single line of commit during the week. So this is Joe. And you can see.
Definitely manager.
No, unfortunately no. But yeah, you can see this is the Joe. And Monday for Joe was pretty much the same, like a 2-hour active status, 15 minutes per session. Not much, no any commits. So we all have Joe in our teams, don't we? So should we really be surprised that layoffs happened? Okay, so my app is still in beta, and I would like to just show to you that, and let's try it. With the code WarsawJS, you can try it and get 1 month free premium access. Thanks for organizers to let me show you that. And yeah, I will be in the lobby waiting for your feedback. Thanks for that.
Chris, watch it. Chris, I'm just going to say right away, this seems like a project manager's tool. Is this for project managers?
If you prefer measured productivity, I just mentioned, yeah.
So for project managers, this would be... Yeah,
but you can also measure yourself, like for improvement, of course.
Okay, let me see, which one am I? I'm this guy right here, wait. Let me see.
Which one?
Let me see later. I'm this person, whoever this is over here, this is who I am. Yeah.
This guy?
That would be me. That would be. Anyone have any feedback? Question, Lena.
Okay, so it's great that you can catch some things that happen at work, but do you have any research data that shows that this time and this commits really show the impact that the person gives? Because I, as a neurodivergent person, would hate to be on Slack.
Sure.
May not be able to push commits in such a rate that would show that I'm working hard, but at the same time, I may do different tasks that still are productive and give something to company. So.
Yeah.
Good point, Lena.
That's a good question, because we are not working for the to push a lot of commits during the day. We work because the value that we provide for the company, for the team, for the colleagues. So the value is the key. And I believe that it doesn't matter how many commits do you push and how active you are during the day, but you always can improve your work. And take a look on the data, how the company measured the increase during the year, or net growth or something measure. So you can do the same.
I missed something. I'm sorry. Thank you. I missed something here. What are these red spots again?
Sorry?
What are these red dots?
Red dots are the events. I call it events. Events are commit or other integrations. Like for now, I put some Git integration like GitHub, Bitbucket, and GitLab, and so on. But in the future, I would like to integrate with other
I'm gonna ask a really tough question now.
Yeah?
For me, this is a tough question. Can you please help me to understand the difference between value, which you mentioned,
Yeah.
and quality, which Lena sort of referred to? So in other words, I may do some very high quality work. Is quality the same as value, or is time equal to value? Like the amount of hours I interact. How do you relate the two? Quality,
So for
value
me,
and quality. Yeah.
So I believe in the value. It doesn't matter how long do you sit next to your computer and pushing each line for each comment to have a lot of dots on the timeline. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, someone will take a look at your work and just notice if you put the value to the project or not.
If you put the value, I'm having difficulty with that. I don't understand because I know one thing. I know that the
Yeah.
employer, the client, is paying for every one of those hours. Is that correct?
It depends on you, I believe.
Uh-huh.
So if you have like a contract for 1 hour and you need to sit each like 8 hours during the day, and the employee paying you 8 hours, so you are online 8 hours. It doesn't matter for the employee, but some of the employers are paying for the value, not for the online status. But yeah.
So besides the very questionable mental model behind this, so I sit on the other side of the table of this employer-employee stuff. So, and even if I want to measure like productivity, it wouldn't be possible in any country in Europe. I don't know if how it's working in the US, but in Europe you cannot apply such things like this.
What do you mean?
So I'm from Austria, for example, and I think here is the same. You have like institutions which like to try to prohibit stuff like that. So it's a kind of surveillance of your employees, and they would really not like you have to do such things as an employer. Just want to mention this. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That is a key point for like
I don't know how
privacy
it
and
fits
so.
in the US, but in Europe, I think it's really hard.
Yeah.
Because you have this work-life balance. Is that what you're saying? There's something that, you know, the hours that you spend on your own or your life. Your response.
Yeah.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thanks.
I would say the most question for me here is maybe a mental health, because for me as a person who is really, you know, stressed, I can really burn out from such pressure. So I think if you want to build something like this for people, it maybe also should consider some kind of life-work balance.
Sure.
And measure it somehow.
Yeah, so I can understand that. And do you think that your current employee doesn't measure your current status or value or commits or online status for now? This is just a tool.
Yeah, I would say that I worked in a different environments, and right now we don't have that stuff. We can work in a different time. For example, I can take a coffee during the day and work a little bit later, but here we have some kind of like Jira or something like this, where we can measure our productivity not based on the time what we spend.
Yeah.
Because, for example, I will give you an example. I can sit for 2 hours and do nothing, and I can spend these 2 hours just walking and then come back and finish my work in 20 minutes, for example. So I think time is not like always mean that you are really productive, and sometimes you need to have like this person who have, you know, middle.
Joe.
Yeah. you need to have this time just to be like as much productive as you can, and without this pressure about time.
Yeah, speaking about Joe, this is the key person in my team, so he's not fully working, like he's not online every time because maybe he doesn't want to be disturbed by Slack. Maybe that's the answer, but he provides the value. I'm not saying Joe is a bad person here. I try to be like a funny guy here, just shows, compare me as a gold standard and Joe like a person who is not online. But yeah,
And still you touched a nerve with this thing. You see that, yes? Seriously, I love the joke as soon as you said, so here's me at the top, right? I love it. At the same time, there's something about this model here that has touched a nerve. Am I right? You can see everyone's like, I'm not sure, I don't really want to do it. I can feel it. You have a question, sir?
I mean, maybe suggestion. We had similar situation, I would say, in our team. We were platform team and we wanted to track performance of our employees, exactly how our tech stack is slowing them down. Maybe we should change approach from the commits which we are making till the moment when it's match and measure. Currently there are no tools for it. It's really like putting effort in the development. Maybe we should switch idea of this.
Is that a question, sir?
Yes.
There
Have
was
you thought
question
about
mark
moving from
at the end.
tracking employee to tracking really their work and things on which they are waiting, which is influencing their efficiency? Question.
That was this man's question as well. Did you understand the question, Chris?
Not yet.
Okay, so
Oh.
are you using Slack activity to measure value, or is it like a reliable indicator of?
No.
No. Okay, and I think that maybe.
But it might be
what is common
a part of value.
Yeah, a part of value. So you can predict.
When you have a team and you have Slack as a communicator for the team, and the guy, Joe, doesn't even show on the Slack and doesn't even respond for the message, so he doesn't provide as much value as you as a gold standard.
Okay, okay, I get that total absence is...
So it might be a part.
But,
that is
yeah,
the answer.
But at the same time, the problem is, I think it was touched a bit before, about quality of of the stuff that you do and the actual commits that you push, because yeah, that's what's.
Are you a software engineer?
The Slack activity being the
People are glitching over this. I'm also I have the same. I have the same reaction, and my feeling is this. Because we have to call the questions and answers to a close in a moment. My feeling about this, something about this, from project manager, is that this thing definitely has another application than the one that you suggested here. I'm thinking this idea, there's something here, again, that could really be applied to something that I could see could be extremely effective. Did you build this thing, or is this a presentation?
No, I just built it. It's working, so we can go to worksonar.io.
I'm thinking there's some other application for this application. I can't put my finger on it. How many people think that there's something very useful about this?
Support.
Yeah.
Support or agents taking calls. Something where the time you spend
Actually is valuable. Where the time and the value are connected. Yeah, this is where I was trying to go to. You know what, Chris? Thank you so much. Everybody give Chris Wojcik a big hand.
Thank you.
And don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. And just before we go home, folks, we want to remind you that our next, on September 11th, we do have the 10th anniversary. I really hope I will be here with you. And sign up for that. Get your discounts if you can. And can we all take one photo before we go home together? Can we get you all to come to the front of the room real quick? Everybody to the front. We'll take one photo just to document that we were all here. And I want to wish you all a great month. And thank you very much, WarsawJS. copy these two. Yeah, I think this is a good place. Can I do it? Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
We in? Yeah, we need 2 fingers up. Peace, everybody. Peace. Peace.
Here, you mean?
Peace. We got it? Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.